Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to go over 5 tips for baby witches. So if you are new to the craft, or even if you've been practicing it for a while but you're not consistent with it, these tips could also be useful for you. So the first one I wrote here is research everything before you choose a path. So I would suggest before you choose a specific path that you research all the different types of witchcraft. So you would want to make sure that you research Wicca. You'd want to make sure that you research hoodoo and conjure. You'd want to make sure that you research Santeria and research voodoo. You want to make sure that you research brujeria. I might not be saying that right, but it's the Spanish form of witchcraft, and just witchcraft in general. So don't keep yourself stuck on one specific path when you first start out. Make sure that you educate yourself on the different kinds of paths first before you actually pick one and stick with it, because like me, I'll give you an example of what I did. So when I first started out, I went right to Wicca and I started learning all about Wicca. I didn't learn about any other different witchcraft types. I think because mostly I didn't know that there were other types at the time, but I only knew of Wicca because I took a class initially in town here. And so I started following the Wiccan path and then realized it wasn't for me, because the Wiccan path is very much religious. So you're worshiping a god and a goddess. And for me, that didn't resonate because I grew up Catholic. So I've always worshiped just one god and not a goddess and a god. So that was really difficult for me to continue on that path because it didn't feel right with me. It didn't resonate with me. So after some time and more research and, reading books and things like that, and taking other classes, then I realized that hoodoo was right for me. And again, I still haven't even researched Santeria or voodoo, but I know that you have to be initiated into those practices. So I don't want to be in a practice where I have to be initiated into, at least not right now. So that's why I chose hoodoo, because you can practice it without being initiated into it. And it also really resonated with me because I've been through a lot of hardship in my life. And it comes from basically the slave trade. The hoodoo was born out of the slave trade. African American people that were slaves at the time, and they had to do spells in order to seek justice for themselves because they weren't treated right by their masters and things like that. So that really resonated for me because I've been through a lot of hard times in my life growing up. So that was part of the reason. The other reason is I very much liked how they said the palms in their spell work. Because I'm Catholic, right? Like I was baptized Catholic. So that really resonated for me. The fact that you say the palms in a lot of your spell work, reading out of the Bible and things like that. So, and I noticed since I actually switched from Wicca to hoodoo, I've actually become more powerful, and my spells have manifested even better than before, and they've manifested more accurately. So I think that was the right switch for me. It might not be the right switch for everyone, but that's kind of why I recommend that you initially, when you're starting out, that you make sure that you really educate yourselves about the various types of witchcraft. And then from there, once you learn all about them, then you can decide the right path for you and just follow that one path. Some people don't even follow one path. They practice a variety of different things, which is okay too. But I've heard that there can be a problem if you're worshiping different deities from different paths. So if, say, for example, you were to worship hoodoo deities and then you were also worshiping Wicca deities, I think that could pose a problem potentially. That's what I've been told anyway. I don't know if that's accurate information, but just be mindful of that. And let's see here. So the second tip that I would recommend is make sure to read a lot, okay? Especially performing elaborate spells, especially like doing candle magic. You need to be careful because if you do the candle spell incorrectly, that can backfire on you. So you just want to make sure that you really educate yourself in the beginning. You do a lot of reading on the proper procedures of how to do, especially candle magic, like I said. And don't get ahead of yourself by practicing something that you don't have a lot of knowledge on. Like, don't just all of a sudden do like an elaborate spell, but you've never done any research on how to do it properly, because again, that could backfire on you and it could potentially produce results that you don't want in your life. So just be careful of that. And then we're going to move to the third step. So read a lot. That is very important before you, like I said, really practice performing in-depth spells. But read a lot in the beginning, but you can still practice small things as you're reading. So make sure not to get into a pattern where you're just reading, but you're not practicing anything, because that's going to be like useless to you, right? You're not going to grow in any kind of way. Yeah, you might have the knowledge, but what is the knowledge without putting it into practice, right? So read a lot, but also practice small things as you go, as frequently as you can, and try to possibly incorporate those small practices into your daily routine. That way you will grow at a faster rate. If you just practice doing things like once a month, it will still help you grow, but you're not going to evolve and you're not going to grow as quickly. So if you can, try and make witchcraft like a daily thing in your routine, right? So you can practice small things such as putting intentions into your tea, or like you could have a tea that you drink every day and put your intention into the tea and choose a tea that is going to be beneficial for that whatever you're trying to manifest, right? You could learn about one new herb every day. Just small things. You can put out moon water on the full moon. You can put your crystals out on the full moon. You can just do little things like that. Like you can smudge yourself and cleanse your aura. You can cleanse your house of any negativity. You can take spiritual baths. So there's little things like that that you can do. You don't have to do crazy like candle magic right away. Just as long as you're doing something small every day, like I said, that's going to help you really get the basis and the foundation for your witchcraft, and it's going to help you grow really at a more rapid rate, I think, than if you just do things once in a while, right? Because versus every day. And yeah, that's what I would say for that. And let me see if I missed anything here. Yeah, again, I kind of just reiterated, don't practice too much without reading and knowing what you're doing again, because that can backfire on you. So if you like get ahead of yourself and do some crazy elaborate spell, there's a chance that it might not work, which is fine. But then what if it does work, but it produces a negative result too, right? You don't want that either. So make sure you don't practice too much advanced stuff without reading and knowing what you're doing. Okay, the fourth tip I have here is I would suggest avoiding worshiping deities right off the bat, especially if you haven't done extensive research on them. So if you don't know all the information about the deity, if you don't know what they like with regards to offerings, then I would steer clear of working with deities, especially in the beginning. I think a good practice, like your best practice, would be to start out just practicing magic, the little things like I had just mentioned. And then as you get more confident and more comfortable, then I would suggest moving on to worshiping your ancestors and calling in the people that have been close to you and that have passed on in your life, trying to work with them. And then I would say the deities would be like the third step of your witchcraft. So that's the ranking I would do, at least. It's different for everyone, but I think that would be the safest way to go about it, is to just start practicing, setting your intentions, doing witchcraft, and then you can start worshiping an ancestor or ancestors. And then as you progress, then you can start working with deities, okay? Now, I would still make an altar regardless of whatever witchcraft type you choose to practice. It would be good just to learn the foundations of an altar, how to set your altar up, what to put on there. And eventually, like if you're going to worship your ancestors or deities, you want to learn how to do like how to give offerings, okay, and how often. For me, I just give my offerings as frequently as I feel I need to. Like I'll just get an intuition about it, like that I need to give them something or that they want something from me, kind of thing. So I'm very generous with my offerings. I'm always giving offerings on a regular basis, okay, even if I'm not doing any crazy candle magic or anything like that, but just doing small things, I'll still give like a lot of offerings. And that's going to build a relationship with spirit too, right? So next up we have, let me see if I forgot anything here again. So the last step is number 5. So purchase as you go doing your spell work. So I've heard this in other videos that I've watched on YouTube where they say the same thing, like don't buy too much at the beginning. Like don't go out and buy a million tools. Don't go out and get too many things, because for one, you're like going to spend all your money, because a lot of these items are very expensive. So I would refrain from buying them all, at once. And plus some of them you may never use too. So you might just it might just look good in your room, but you won't actually be using it. You won't get any use out of it. So I would refrain from buying too many tools, too many items at the beginning. What I would recommend is buying them as you go. So as you're doing a candle magic spell, for example, then you would need your green candle, you would need the herbs that go with it, the oils that go with it, and so forth. So then you can buy those items as you're doing the spell, right? But again, avoid buying too many things at the beginning. Because a lot of times too is when you're first starting out, you can use a lot of your herbs that you already have in your home, like your herbs that you cook with, okay? You can do a lot with that. Even the teas that you have at home, if you're a tea drinker, there's teas that you already have in your house probably that you can start doing intention work with. And the other suggestion I have, which I just realized recently, like I should have started doing this a long time ago, but a lot of the thrift stores have things that you can get for very, very cheap. So I wouldn't necessarily buy all your items at a metaphysical shop. You'd want to make sure that you looked at a thrift store first, because you can get like a lot of candles that haven't been burned, um, you know, for very cheap prices. You can get all kinds of knickknacks, for like even candle holders. You can get like baskets. You can get certain containers that you can put your herbs in and stuff for really, really dirt cheap. I don't know what the thrift stores are in the States or elsewhere, but if you're in Canada, you can go to Value Village. They have a lot there that you can purchase, even to decorate your altar. Okay. So try those places first. Don't go crazy and buy everything all at once. Buy as you go, and try buying at the cheaper stores first before you end up going to the metaphysical shop. Like obviously, if they don't have what you're looking for at the thrift store, then you can go to the metaphysical store and get your crystals or your athame or whatever else they have there that you, or your wand that you need, right? So the other suggestion I would make too is make sure that you get your information from various sources when you're doing your magic. Like make sure that you're reading books, make sure that you're joining groups on like Facebook or YouTube or TikTok. Online too, you can get some good information if you look on reputable websites. Okay, Pinterest is a great one for a lot of good information. I would join, again, groups on Facebook or even maybe a coven. I've never joined a coven, but that's something I wish I would have done from the beginning. You could join an online coven, or you can join an in-person coven if you know other people that are into witchcraft, like your friends or other people in your community. You can join a coven. But you know, that would probably accelerate your growth as well, because you're learning from other people. You're not just learning from yourself, and you're not just practicing but from yourself. You're practicing with other people, so they can give you input, they can give you their ideas and stuff like that, right? And you would get help. So yeah, those are basically all the tips that I can give you guys as of right now. Like I feel that those would really help you get a lot further in the beginning if you follow those tips versus the stuff that I did, because I didn't really follow any of those things at the beginning. I did follow some, but those would be the suggestions I would make to you guys if you're a baby witch and you're just starting out. They're really gonna like help you in the beginning, and I feel that they're going to be beneficial for you to do. So thank you guys for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you liked the video, and if you want to hear more tips like this. And I do all kinds of spells that I post on here as well. I do tarot readings, and I like to give information on here. Sometimes I do Reiki sessions as well. So if that's kind of your jam, just hit the subscribe button down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.